Good morning, July 30th, I believe it's the 30th, Tuesday, 2024. As I said before, I've now read this book, or most of it here, um, by Edna Cal Martin, Bundy's cousin. And one of the first things I noticed, remember that Debbie and I were in the car, and he was 20 years, 7 months. Debbie was 12 years, 7 months. They were both born in November. I was 12 years and 9 months because I was born in September. The first thing I noticed in the book is her father, Jack John Cal, a musician and a professor of music, unlike my father, who was an aircraft mechanic. But her mother was from a wealthy family in Philadelphia, and he was from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, excuse me. Well, I guess somewhere in Philadelphia, too. I'm going to go over what I think saved Debbie and I. One, I look remarkably like the childhood Linda Bundy. I was born in 54. She was born in 51, I believe. Edna Cal was born in 51. Bundy was 5 when she was born, and they met. That's when they first met, and they grew up. And he loved that family because they were extremely wealthy, and it was more idyllic than I ever thought, because they had this island, and it was called Far Away, and there was a pergola that just, an entrance, like a portico, that was fantastic, and they were all and this house was being renovated out on this island. It was, like in the tides and the fishes and the tide would go out and there'd be shells and I don't know what all. But what I think is when Debbie and I ended up getting in that car, the 1966 or 67 red VW with no black strip on the bumper because they were solid silver, and had a black and white, in my opinion, tag, but it could have been green and white because of the summer heat, the red clay, the red Volkswagen, my eyesight. And for some reason, Washington's tags that year were so dark green, from a distance they appeared black and white. I was right there with him. I could smell the odor. I saw the birthmark. He had more than, I think he had more than one birthmark around his neck and shoulders. Remember, he wasn't wearing a shirt. I thought he'd been playing some pickup basketball in the pine field over by the school. But he still had this air of sophistication. He was older than most of the older guys. He was like 8 years older than us. But anyway, what I think saved us is I learned to speak from my mother. My mother was from Willow Grove, Johnstown. She worked at the naval base. That's where she met my father. And as far as sophisticated, she was very sophisticated. She wore very stunning clothes, A-line, She even sent a picture in to Hollywood or something, and they accepted it. My grandmother said no to that. My father was in a movie with Olivia de Havilland called Wings of Victory, I believe, and he led Olivia Havilland to a seaplane. And he would be like Brian Dennehy crossed with red buttons, somewhere in there, a cross between the two of them. Anyway, I'm going to read this, and you can tell me if you can pick up any Philadelphia type stuff, because what I think happened to Bundy was, one, he was too far away from the West Coast where he knew he needed to be. If it was really June 17th, he only had like 5 or 6 days to get his ass back over there, and maybe he'd run out of funds, or maybe by listening to me he realized he could befriend Debbie and kind of finagle them out of $20 or $25. I don't know. Maybe he was short of funds. I don't know. Where did he get the revolver? All right. Let me go over this, but I won't forget it. Everything she describes as him going into a different state, I've heard that over and over again from the singer Debbie, what is her name? Just want to have fun, whatever. Debbie, whatever. She ran into him, and several people have mentioned it over the years that he would go into some kind of fog like stayed. His eyes looked a little crossed. They'd go black. His eyebrows then would connect. He had a unibrow. Okay. All right, I'm going to read, and you see if you can hear any stuff. My oncologist said, yeah, are you from Philadelphia? I said, no, my mom's from Philadelphia. All right, let me read a little, and you can see if you can pick up the Queen's English, right? Okay, so important safety information, page 4, safety instructions. Do not store or use gasoline or other flammable liquids or aerosols within or in the vicinity of this or any other appliance. Read product labels for warnings regarding flammability and other hazards. Do not operate the refrigerator in the presence of explosive fumes. Avoid contact with any moving parts of automatic ice maker. Remove all staples from the carton. Staples can cause severe cuts and also destroy the finishes if they come in contact with other appliance or furniture. Warning, do not use electrical appliance inside the food storage compartment of the appliance unless they are of the type recommended by the manufacturer. Child safety. This appliance is not intended for the use by persons, including children, with reduced physical, sensory, or mental capabilities or lack of experience and knowledge, unless they have been given supervision or instructions concerning the use of the appliance by a person responsible for their safety. Do not, destroy or recycle the carton, plastic bags, or any exterior wrapping material immediately after you unpack the refrigerator. Children should never use these items to play. Cartons covered with rugs, bedspreads, plastic sheets, or stretch wrap may become airtight chambers and can quickly cause suffocation. Wow. The analogy, right? Proper disposal of your appliance, and on and on. Okay, so that's it. I'm done reading. I said, I remember this. I said, are you in the Navy? He said, college. I said, there's books back here. Just move the books. And then another thing, I said, when he displayed the gun, I said, what's your name? He said, Theodore. I said, Theodore, because it sounded pretentious. I said, well, what's your last name? And he said, Bundy. I said, your name is Bundy like my clarinet, and your gun is silver like Debbie's flute. If you're looking for girls, you ought to go up to the high school. You ought to meet Debbie's sisters, Vicky and Jeannie. They're so pretty and already out on their own. Debbie's father's an admiral with NASA, So, anyway, thank you. I think because of my talking and my looks, I think he decided not to do it. But years later, I think he came back to do us. He was looking for us. He was looking for us, particularly Debbie, I think. Thank you.